Oh, good morning, everybody. It's Barb Katie again. I hope you had a great weekend. I enjoyed mine tremendously. We finally had good weather to enjoy for virtually the entire weekend, and that was exceptionally nice. So I'm fired up and ready to start a new week with all of you and looking forward to our time together throughout the week. We had some really good comments in our group this week that I enjoyed so much and was inspired by. And most of them seem to have a common theme that resonates really, really strong with me, and that theme is change. Uh, and I think all of us deal with change on a regular basis for many, many reasons. First of all, change is a constant. Just going through life, we're going to change. If you doubt that, go right now and look at your baby pictures and then look at yourself in the mirror. You changed. You didn't have to do too much about it, really, but you changed. Time will intervene and changes happen. Some are modifiable, some are not. Some are planned, some are not. Some are um, choices that we can make. And those are the ones I think most of us really think about when we're talking about changing. Changing your environment, changing yourself, uh, changing what you do for a living, changing how you think about things. Changes happen in every aspect of our life. It is just a part of living. So I say to you, constant consideration of change is very important because change is the constant. We don't just sit in one place and not change. Even sitting in one place, you're going to change. And if you doubt that, as you get older and you sit too long in one place, you find that you're not quite as mobile as you were when you first sat down. That things changed while you were sitting in that chair, and now you have to do something about it to adapt, to modify, to get back. Some of the mobility that just seemed to ooze out of you while you were sitting in that chair. Um, so, accepting the simple fact that we must change and do change, whether we do anything about it or not, from birth to death, is important for this discussion. Um, I was looking back through some pictures that I was putting together for the kids and the grandkids about our our family milestones. I think all of us take pictures of some kind that we help uh, preserve memories that were important to us as we were going through the lives we were living. When we didn't always have the time to really appreciate what was actually going on in all of its magnificence. And pictures have a way of capturing those moments in time that were so special. And in doing that, I was smiling to myself and just happened to glance up and saw my reflection in the window. And it was a genuine smile. I was back in time. Uh, and I was looking at baby pictures at the moment, and I was looking at pictures of my sons when they first began to sit up on their own. And I can remember how they struggled, how hard they worked because they had a roly-poly little bottom that was coated and padded with diapers, which made them even rounder on the bottle and bottom. And they always reminded me of the little toy called a Weeble. If you remember, Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. And I used to laugh because the boys would fall down. They'd almost get up to the sitting up point, and then over they'd go. They had gone a little bit past center, and gravity prevailed, and there they went. But they learned. And the same way with letting go of the furniture when they began pulling themselves up and began walking. You know, it was such a big deal for them and they worked so hard. Nobody was saying, you have to do this. If there was something in them, in all of us, in our spirits, in our desires as human beings, to keep trying, to do the best we can, to go the next step, and then the next step, and the next step. So I was remembering all that, and I thought, this is a good topic to discuss because change just doesn't happen because you say it will. There's a process that has to be gone through. First, the desire to change has to be there. And in some ways, at sometimes, it seems to be pretty easy to have a driving force behind you to facilitate the change, but sometimes not. Sometimes it's an effort to make a change. And I think all of us have run up against that brick wall from time to time where the change we want just does not seem to be happening, and we're sort of at a loss as to what to do in whatever area of our lives. It could be our weight, it could be our eating habits, it could be the way we stay active, the way we learn, the way we embrace how we do things, even our work choices sometimes change because interests change, opportunities change, etc. So life to me is never fixed in time. It's always under modification of some type, some way, somehow. Some of it is intentional, some of it is unintentional, and some of it is inevitable. You cannot stop time. I don't even think I'd want to, but you simply cannot stop time. It is going to pass, and with the passage of time, some things change. That's something we have to accept. Can we maximize our ability to enjoy the time that we have? I think we can by actions we choose to make. But we have to put in the work in order to get the results we want. About 15 years ago, I ran across a lady that was a motivational speaker and a musician while I was visiting up in Milwaukee. And her name is Janice Stanfield, and I really connected with her and the presentation she gave that night because that presentation was on change. And she had written a song, and I've used that song in presentations I have done throughout the years. With her permission, she and I still are in contact, and we have a good friendship. And she gave me permission to use this song that she had recorded. It's called "Let the Change Begin." And in the lyrics of the song, one of the things it says is, let the change begin within. And I think it's very important for us to realize and understand that the change has to begin within ourselves to be real. And one of the visualizations in the lyrics was, you need to be flexible like a willow tree. You have to be willing to bend, but not break, to go forward with the changes that you want to achieve. And if you make these changes within, they will spread, they will radiate out and touch other people that you interact with on a regular basis. And that was profoundly interesting to me. And to this day, I can play that song and the messages are still there, they're still clear, they're still valid. And that to me is one of the signs of a good songwriter, that their lyrics still remain relevant. Um, I think all of you have certain songs like that, that the lyrics of the music still resonate really strongly with your core belief system and how you live your life. And finding one of those songs, I think all of us tend to hang on to it as a special favorite. And this one has informed my life from many aspects. Not long ago, my son was having conversation with me as an adult. And isn't it funny how the conversations you have with your children change as we grow and learn and develop our own individual core belief system? Uh, I enjoyed my children growing up as little bits. I enjoy them even more now as thoughtful, caring adults, and appreciate the conversations that we're able to have about life and how we should live it and get the most out of it to benefit us and all the people that surround us that we love. And usually it involves some type of change, you know. Anyway, my son was having this conversation with me, and he had gone through a changing life event that was totally unintentional. He would not have chosen it at all, um, but it happened, whether he wanted it or not. He lost his significant other, and she passed away quite unexpectedly. Uh, and everything they had planned for their life based on the what they knew at the time suddenly was no longer possible because her presence in his life as a partner had been removed. Uh, and so it was a really important conversation to have, and it dealt with so many aspects. I know all of us have gone through similar changes at similar times, and that's the reason I say growing up never stops. You're never so old that you know everything. There's always something new, some change that will challenge you to continue to learn and grow and develop as a human being until you move on to the next level. Uh, One of the things I think so many people uh, sort of think about is you just say it and it's going to happen. Well, no, it isn't a straight line from point A to point B when you're talking about change. And the process is a challenging process. We resist change as adults. We tend to embrace change much more as children. I think, like a willow branch, we're much more flexible, much more adaptable to change as we're younger because we don't have quite as many uh, processes in place to govern our lives and make our lives more convenient. Um, so there's that natural resistance when we say, well, I'm going to now do this. And one of the things I love about New Year's resolutions, people put down all these many things that they're going to change, and then they're overwhelmed because they're naturally going to resist them. And they've got so many things they're resisting, they quit. It's just too much. It's overwhelming. You sort of fall into a state of chaos because you've removed many things that regulate and govern your day-to-day life, and you're trying to replace it with something that is new and foreign, and dare I say, not yet established as a habit. And it it just simply is going to take time depending on the degree of change required and the number of changes you're making. I tend to do much better if I do one thing at a time and learn to do it very well and then move on to the next thing. and give myself a chance to integrate it into my daily lifestyle. Uh, that to me uh, is the most helpful approach because then I can manage and adapt from the status quo, which is what all of us like to maintain is the status quo, uh, and then move forward. You know, getting up off the couch really, when it comes to increasing your exercise activity, is probably the biggest step that you will ever make because you can sit there and think about it forever. But when you finally make the decision to stand up and start moving, then the change begins. When you are willing to quit resisting that first step and begin to make time to implement the change, is when you will begin to see progress toward whatever it is you're wishing to achieve begin to happen. Um, at any rate, this year, I have a few changes in mind that I have begun to implement uh, one at a time. I have three changes, uh, and one of them is in the works right now. I'll add another when this one begins to feel comfortable. And they're not all in the same areas. They don't all have to do with my physical body. Some of them have to do with the way I think about things, to get a new perspective, a new outlook, a new approach that brings me more joy and happiness, which in itself helps me want to continue to make other changes when that criteria is met. Who doesn't like to do something that's fun and good? And I'm trying to make sure that my approach to any change is a positive, happy one. Hopefully, I've been blessed with amazingly good health, and hopefully that will continue because my target now is to improve that rather than to be at a point where I have to try to restore health that has been lost. Because that could be an unexpected change that could happen at any time to any one of us. Recently I had a fall on some black ice and probably bruised my dignity more than anything else, but I was really lucky. I did not have any serious injury. I picked myself up, dusted myself off, made sure all of my body parts were still connected, and went on about going to where I was going, which was from the mailbox back to the house. Not a long distance, but I wanted to be sure I was physically able to make that trip after the fall. And what I had was a couple of magnificent bruises that turned all colors of the rainbow, but that was about it. I was a little bit sore, of course, but time to allow myself to heal took care of that quite readily. And then getting back to a regular level of activity and being a little bit more aware and cautious has moved me forward to where I'm doing everything I was just, a few weeks ago. So, with that in mind, change again happens. I certainly, that day when I went to get the mail, was not expecting to fall down and get a boo-boo, but it happened. And then it has to be dealt with when it happens. You can't just ignore it, uh, which is what I say about change happening, whether it's intentional or unintentional. I can guarantee you it will happen. So for you, as your changes begin for yourself, look at the ones you intend to make, and then, as best as you can, move forward with one of them until you get that down to where it's comfortably integrated into your normal activities. Then look at another, bearing in mind that other changes that you never intended to make uh, may pop in there at any moment in time, and you need to remain flexible with your changes. The phrase change your changes is relevant to all of us throughout our lives because we may need to shift in a millisecond and alter the path that we thought we were going to be on for quite some time. So enjoy the changes in your life, embrace every single one. Make sure you contribute to the path you're going to be following this year, some really good, fun activities that will bring you joy and happiness, and maybe an even more positive outlook on life in general. I want you to have a really terrific day. Uh, and I'd love to hear about some changes that you're in the process of incorporating into your daily lives this week. Um, I wish you every success, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.